What's going on, everybody? It is Tim from Advanced Agent Marketing here. I have a special guest. Nick Redmond is here today to talk about his recent success with the Platinum Ad Setup program. He's absolutely been killing it over the last couple weeks, targeting quite an interesting niche that nobody else is doing, so I'm not going to reveal it here on camera. But without any further ado, welcome Nick to the channel. Kind of start off and give us a little bit of a background on yourself, how you got into the insurance business, and then later on in the video, we're going to break down your numbers to see how you've been doing it.
Right on, man. Yeah, awesome, dude. Thank you guys, for having me, dude. Really, thank you guys for doing what you're doing, dude, because it's working. But yeah, Nick Redmond, working for Symmetry Financial Group, and where did I get started? So I've been in the industry for going on 3 years now. But before this, I used to knock doors, selling meat door to door since I was 19.
Really, that's how Jordan Belfort got his start, I believe.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's cut from the same cloth, baby. No.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, frozen food, man, out of the back of a pickup truck since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And I did that, for a long time, but it was just, and I made good money. I had my own company at one point in time, but it just wasn't, I don't know. It was kind of shady at times, it felt like, and just kind of taking whatever we could get from everybody, so it was kind of starting to eat at my soul a little bit. And I wasn't never home around my family, and then COVID happened. I actually got in the industry when COVID happened. So right when everything went virtual, is when I got started, and that was one of the reasons why I got started. And here we are, now crushing it, man. Looking forward to the future. We're just scratching the surface.
Oh, 100%. So honestly, this is my first time ever hearing about the door-to-door meat selling. That's crazy. I've heard about a lot of people doing it. I don't think I've ever met somebody that did. I don't even think I've had a meat salesman at my door yet. If they pulled up with the amount of meat that I'd eat, I'd probably buy something. But I mean, that's crazy. So you had all this experience door to door, and then you get into the industry. You don't even ever sell insurance door to door. You're straight to telesales. Is that right?
Yeah, I was doing a little Zoom in the beginning, and I did actually, when COVID calmed down, I went in the home a little bit because that's kind of my wheelhouse because I was always in sales. But I actually was me being able to work from my house, and just when I'm done here and I go out and coach my kids baseball, being able to do all that instead of driving around, far outweighs the slight drop off you have on not being in somebody's face. And I've actually 100%. Found out that the business actually sticks a little bit better because if I was in your house, there was a little bit more of an opportunity for me to take a stance and say, I'm not leaving without this application. It's not that big of a deal. When I'm on the phone, if someone's not going to stay on the books, I'll actually hey, you don't sound that serious. Let's not do this because I don't want to charge back. But if I drove 2 hours to your house and I'm in your house, I'm trying to close the deal. And then when I walk out of the house, a week later, you're canceling the policy because I forced you to do it.
I've never thought about that. I always kind of thought of it in the reverse way, but I guess if somebody does buy over telesales, they're a lot more serious than in face-to-face because it's so much easier to say no or just, hang up the phone.
Yeah, 100%. And then in order for them to do business with you, there's got to be some more established trust that on the phone and in the home, you know what I mean? Because you got to work to build that credibility and that trust. So whether you're doing it intentionally or not, if they're going to say yes and give you their bank info on the phone, then they trust you in some way, shape, or form. So that's pretty concrete right there as it is.
That's very true. That's an interesting way of thinking about it. I never thought of it on the other side of it, but no, that makes a ton of sense. So, for everybody,
I was terrified.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I was going to say I was terrified. I didn't want to do telesales. That's why I did Zoom in the beginning, and then I went in home, and then it got to a point where I started getting leads all over the state because I needed more leads because I wasn't having a lot of success. I started actually telling people I was going to show up to their house because I felt like that was a more concrete appointment. When they knew I was coming, they would okay me to come to their house, and I would actually just call them and tell them hey, I'm running behind, but I'll do you a favor and knock it out on the phone. Meanwhile, I was sitting in my office. But I just felt when I booked an in-home appointment that they were more solid appointments. I didn't want to do telesales, but then I started doing that for like a few weeks and was just like, dude, this is way better. There's so many more pros than cons to doing this thing on the phone. So I'll deal
100%.
with all the little dip and no shows and stuff like that. It's way better.
Yeah. No, you got into the business like basically the same time that we did. We got in 2021. It sounds like you got in maybe 2020. But
yeah, March. It's literally this just turned 3 years.
Okay, so you've been in for 3 years. We've basically been in for now 2 years. Got in like COVID was still kind of like in full swing, but not nearly when it was in the beginning. But yeah, that's wild. So like when you got in, you had no choice but to go telesales, and ultimately that probably ended up being a benefit for you because you realized how how well it works.
Yeah, and I'm I'm originally from New York. Like I'm in Arkansas now, but when I started in New York, just a little backstory, you couldn't, even though there was apps, like you were still pipeline and you could do the digital electronic application. In New York, I still needed a wet signature. So even in the beginning when COVID was happening, I could fill out the whole app and they only gave me the option to print to get signed. So I had to fax this stuff over to people, like, and email it. 80 or 70-year-old people figuring out how to print it out and sign. Like, New York was a mess. But that's how I got started in the industry. That's why I started going to telesales, because I couldn't even go in home in the beginning, whether it was COVID or not, because New York sucked. So I had to go outside of New York. Yeah. So all this stuff that was against me actually helped me in the long run because it prepped me to be in the lane I'm in right now, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%. The downsides turned into a blessing. So for everyone at home that's watching, you had a killer week this past week. I'd like to kind of break down the numbers a little bit. Like, what did you end up writing in total AP? What did you spend on leads? And then, I mean, also like how much were you working to hit that? Like, once you kind of get into the numbers, like, were you working like an 80-hour week, just smiling and dialing for hours on end, or what exactly did your activity look like?
Yeah, well, I wish I honestly did work more, because if I did work more, I'd probably have a bigger number to say. But I only did 11,400 basically for the week. And I was only off of. Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I feel like I should be able to do that, especially like knowing now the amount of people I'm talking to, the quality of the leads that I'm making. I should be able to do that every week. It's just a work thing, but yeah, it was good. It was awesome. And I pretty much only worked, I started on Saturday last week. I worked Saturday. I had an appointment on Sunday, but they no-showed me. So like I basically didn't work. It was just one appointment, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's 4 days. And of the 2 of those 4 days, I wrote 4,000 and 6,000. And then I wrote another app this last Saturday. So really, and Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, I did not work. Like, I didn't actually dial. I didn't do any like outbounds whatsoever. So it was really those 4 days that I worked, but it was 11,400 my ad spend. So I guess because I was spending 60 a day. So what's that? 8 days for the whole stretch. You know what I mean? But I spend 420 a week. I did 10,000 off of 420, and then I had one more day into the mix because I just wrote another policy. So what's that? Maybe 500 at the most to write 12 grand.
Yeah. You said 500 to write 12 grand?
Yeah. And Jesus, all of it, every bit of it too got issued.
That's like, I'm trying to do the math in my head. I think that's like a 20x return.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. I mean, dude, even at like, like let's say we do the advance, right? And like, let's say you're starting at like a low comp. Someone's starting low at like 70%, right? And you're $420. That's a 15x return if you're at 70% contract level with your 9-month advance. So like, that's not including the back end that I'm going to get paid, and I'm not at 70%. You know what I mean? But people start there. You know what I mean? Like, I know when I started at 60 and worked my way up. I don't want people to hear my contract rate and think that you need a contract rate to make money.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all about like contract. You said, even if you were starting, like, I know most people start at Symmetry is like 70%. So if you were just starting off
80 now.
You said 80 now?
Yeah, they just bumped up to 80, but yeah, exactly. At 70%, you just 15 extra money and made $6 grand.
That's insane. And if you're at 100, I just did the math with that, you'd be at a 24x return which I've done a decent, like I've done quite a few of these interviews where we kind of check in with students. I don't think a single person has had a 24x return, Nick. Like, you're freaking crushing it, dude.
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning.
Nice.
Like, imagine, I know you said like what, 4 and 6K of that came in 2 days.
Yeah. So the really like on Saturday, I wrote $4 grand of it. And then that one no-show Sunday, Monday I had a couple appointments that didn't fall my way. And then Tuesday I wrote another 6K. So it was really like, that was where I wrote all of it. And then I talked to you on Friday and I took off when like I worked a little Wednesday, but I didn't really work like I worked. Like I didn't dial 100 dials. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't, so I don't count that as working if I just pick and pop and dial 30 times for the day.
Right. So, dude, I'm like just trying to imagine what these numbers would have looked like if you were going like full force 5 days out of the week.
I know after me and you talked and we got on here and you were texting me like, yo, bro, let's go hard for the video. And I'm like, I already was like, kind of like, dude, I got my schedule wrapped up. Like, that's the only reason why I sold those other 2 policies. You know what I mean? I was like, let me go try and throw another policy on here, dude. But I think if I work the full 5 days consistently, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do just off of that ad spend anywhere from 5 to 10K every single week. Like, I don't
easily
see it.
No question. No question.
I'm trying to do like 15, 20K weeks, man.
100%. So real quick, in like a minute and a half, kind of break down what your, like the top 3 tips that you would give a brand new agent starting out. What would the top 3 tips that you would give them to have their first 10K week?
Top 3. Okay. Well, first one, dude, full immersion, dude, in the industry. Wherever you're at, wherever your mentor, like completely immerse yourself in whatever he's telling you to do, he or she's telling you to do. Eat, sleep, and breathe the business. Like, I'm not trying to tell you like to do only the business, but like, you know, if you want to learn something and be successful, you need to immerse yourself in it. Study, train, practice, rep the scripts. So complete immersion. 2 would be, you need to have the activity, map out a schedule, block off times where the only thing you're doing is income producing activities, and don't give into those. You know what I mean? Don't do what I did on that Wednesday and Thursday because I was up to 10K and not work. And then the last thing is make sure you got some good leads. I'm throwing a shout out to these dudes. Like, if your company doesn't have a good lead source and you're chasing vendors, like, you need to be just making your own leads. You know what I mean? So like some companies, like, dude, like our companies, like we got good leads. I just want more control. So that's why I'm outsourcing. So just find a good lead source that you know is going to work.
Awesome. Nick, thank you so much for hopping on here. I got to run to another call, but appreciate you hopping on. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. If you want to hit up Nick, where can they find you if they want to learn more about doing business with you?
Yeah, I mean, my Facebook, I have a business page. It's just like it is here, Nick Redmond, NickRedmond. My Instagram is Nick F. Redmond. Just reach out to me. We can chat, man. I mean, whether or not it's something that we can directly help you with, I'm all about trying to add value and pouring into people. It all comes back. So if I can help you in any way, man, let's do it, man. Let's all grow together.
Let's do it. Awesome. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace.